Is better off better? That's the question. Every now and then, a new JavaScript library or framework is released, so it's nothing special when we get news of a new auth library. But why a new auth library? We already have stuff like auth.js, Clerk, Kind, auth, Logtail, and also Lucia, although now looking to be discontinued. That seems like that's really all you need. Well, what sets better off apart is the fact that it's trying to be the default auth library for JavaScript. For an auth solution, sometimes all you need is plain old email and password to authenticate a user, but other times you need organizations, usernames, you need multi-factor authentication, which either becomes a lot of code or you have to burn through a lot of cache depending on if you're using a paid solution. So, out of the box, Better Earth is framework agnostic, supports email and password, has account session and management, a built-in rate limiter, automatic database management, social sign-on, two-factor authentication, and to take this further, it also has a support for plugins. There are already a few official plugins, but you can also build yours for what you need it for. So for your own use case, you can build yours. So, what does it look like to use Better Off? Let's quickly take a look at the installation process here. So, to get started, you just run npm install Better Off, set an environment variable with Better Off secret. You can just generate it here and copy this into your project. So, you can set the base URL, which is optional because you can also pass it as an option to your config when you're creating the off client. So create a better off instance in your project root. Create a file named auth.ts in one of these locations. So it is that in your lib folder or your utils folder. I think you have to create it in one of those files because that's what they have there. You can also nest any of these folders on the source app or server folder. Okay, so it is nest and in this file, import better off and create your off instance. So you create your off instance and pass in some configuration. So you configure database. Now, better off uses Kisley for database queries or supports Postgres, MySQL, and SQLite. So if you happen to use something other than Kisley rather, although Kisley is the recommended way to set up your database, you can use Prisma or you can use Drizzle or MongoDB. I personally use Drizzle. Now you want to create a database tables. Better off comes with a CLI to any schema required for by the library. So you just run this npx of CLI generate and then you migrate it. So it's really good that they have a CLI that handles this for you. Now authentication methods. Now, you create the authentication method that you would need in the configuration in the auth TS. To handle API requests, you need to set up a route handler on your server. But it also supports any backend framework with standard request and response objects and offers alpha functions for popular frameworks. So for next, you can just do export the for define. So adding a path to your auth file. Okay, return off dot handler to web request. Okay, okay. Now you have to create a client instance as well. I see in lib of client. Okay, and that's it. It would be interesting to know if they are planning on providing pre-made UIs as well, because I would love if they have something like already made of middleware and just have this and be good to go in your project. I would have loved if they did something like this, but I guess this checks out that they have an example here. Now, what do I think about Better Off? I think Better Off is really looking good. I think it has potential. I personally would be using it going forward.